Welcome back to day one of NAB 2025 New York. I'm still Michael Kamas here with Key Code Media. We have a booth here at the show, and we're lucky to be joined by James Stillflug.
Stillflug, exactly.
Yes. If anyone of you were watching earlier today, I butchered some names, but I got that right today.
I have a butcherable name, no problem at all.
And James happens to be with EVS, and EVS has a lot of announcements. We have a lot of things to condense into a short amount of time. So first off, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So
great first day here, right?
It's fantastic to see all these familiar faces, but also see the newer technology. Some are innovating, some are just iterating, but there's a lot of innovation going on. So why don't we start with what is EVS showing this year at the convention?
Sure. A lot of people are going to think of EVS and they know us for the sports replay and the typical big box that everyone ran to do the sports broadcast replays. But I think our portfolio is quite wide, many different layers for asset management, dealing with new innovations on the tools for the sports replay side. We're showing a lot of our infrastructure tools, so control and orchestration and how to implement new infrastructure for doing production facilities, as well as some new acquisitions that EVS has made recently, expanding our portfolio into more of the robotics and camera control systems type layers.
And who are those new acquisitions?
So we acquired a company called Telemetrics here in the US and another company in Europe called XD Motion, and they're both living inside the family of EVS product portfolio known as T Motion.
Excellent. So for a lot of folks who are watching who may be in the post-production or production realm, maybe some broadcast, what things, of all the announcements, of all the things you're showing at the booth, what's most applicable for those folks?
Sure. So for us, I mean, EVS is usually very well known for how we acquire content and deal with live ingest and deal with very reactive playback. We have a lot of the tool sets that allow us to bridge that content, give you kind of the asset management tools to analyze, to dig deeper, to expose the content you need, and then do those in directly pluggable layers inside your Adobe Premiere or inside your edit suite and make that content more searchable, more reachable, and bringing the different tool sets which give you faster time to get to the content. You
bring up a point that we've talked a lot about here at Key Code Media, and that's the new paradigm of discovery, right? It's no longer just have loggers, put in keywords. It's now utilizing machine learning, AI to say, well, not just objectively what's happening, but what's happening subjectively.
Sure, it's the semantic layer. It's just being able to say, look, I'm looking for a shot that looks like this. I need a better reaction from a person because I need that to be complementary to my edit. So it's going beyond the traditional hierarchies of just labeling a clip, finding a file, and then searching for it. Now it's being able to search within the context of what was spoken, or search within the meaning of what they were saying, or find an image based on a more natural language search, which allows that editor and the production people to approach it in a much more intuitive way rather than the way we had to do it for the last 20 or 30 years.
Well, now you're speaking my language, so I'd like to dig into that a little bit. So are we talking about cloud processing to do this, or is this all done on-prem within EVS tools?
I think it all depends on the way the client wants to deploy. So we have versions that can be instantiated using cloud resources. We have versions we can put on the ground, on-premise, depending on where you want to deploy and run those infrastructure. So I think every one of our clients is at a different stage of what cloud means to them and what investments mean from CapEx to OpEx. So we know that our customers expect what we kind of call this dynamic, flexible computing to say, I need something to be bought and sold as a piece that I own, or I don't have the budget for that. I just need to tap in and use something on demand for a day or a week and burst into the cloud and use a resource. So depending on what they're looking to do, we can give them different deployment models and we can give them different digestible ways to get access to the tool set and use those things to annotate the content, store it in cloud, store it on premise, or give them different ways to process based on their needs.
And is this generating traditional tag-based metadata, or are we talking about full semantic search, vector databasing, things like that?
At different layers on different product lines, depending on which one you're in. So we have an entire team of data scientists inside the company that are building AI tools, and those are at different layers of our business and different solutions that come to market.
If I can pause you right there, that right there is Herculean lift. What we find is a lot of folks in the M&E space, media entertainment space, they know M&E, but AI is a completely different animal, so we're going to plug into third-party APIs, or we're just going to hire a contractor. But EVS has actually gone that route and say, look, we're bringing this in-house for collaboration.
Sure, I mean, there's the traditional AI topics everyone talks about, which is I just want to take this audio and generate a script, or just tag and log this with simple keywords. We take an approach that said, as EVS, we deal especially well at live. Taking something in a very quick turnaround, giving you faster ways to access it and do something. So for us, our data scientists build ways to take a regular frame rate image and generate a higher frame rate kind of super slow-mo using AI. The same technology can be used to kind of add different depth of field or deep blurring. And in other layers, we use AI to do skeletal tracking and do identification for sports content. So depending on what you're talking about, we're using this as a better way to kind of enrich the content, make it easier searchable, and not just tagging it with text and sidecar files like that. We're really talking about enriching it in ways that are not the standard libraries. We're talking about the value that EVS brings in a whole different live approach.
So let me make sure I understand, because that's pretty amazing. Normally, we're during the World Series right now, or the Division Championship Series, right? Mm-hmm. And you can tell the production quality between one camera and a super slow-mo, right? Mm-hmm. When they're looking at a play at the base, what hit first, right? Was it the runner? Was it the position player? And a lot of times it's still jerky frame by frame, as opposed to a, pardon the expression, a fluid morph, right?
Sure. When you see that camera mounted at a base, typically it's not a high frame rate camera because you can't get it to that little tiny camera. Now, using our AI technology, we can actually improve the quality of that image and give you something that's much more fluid when you show that slow motion slide, that it wasn't the original camera the way it shot, but we can generate that using AI. And most people who are watching sports right now, they've definitely seen what we call extra motion, where we've generated this AI image. It's being used in thousands of shows around the world, and I guarantee someone's seen one of these but didn't realize that wasn't the original camera, that was created using artificial intelligence.
And it looks a heck of a lot better than when you go and see your relatives during the holiday and you want to turn off the fluid motion on the TVs, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't look
different
so
market.
yeah.
Different market, exactly.
So another component of folks who deal with media is having an archive, right? So how are EVS tools interoperating with an archive, especially when it comes to enriching it with metadata for these, which goes hand in hand with some of the live work as well?
Sure, I'd say it's not the forte of EVS, meaning we tend to oscillate much more in the live space, where we can do things as rapidly as possible during the live production because you want a fast turnaround. The further you get away from live, there's lots of other businesses that give ways to kind of improve that content and make it more searchable or archivable. But what we try and do is bring some of that archive layers to the very rapid kind of production tools so that you can interact with that layer in a way that doesn't require you going off to an archivist or going off to a deep separate storage. We want to expose that and bring it up to visual layers, low-res proxies, give you ways to use a web browser to find it, and embed that directly in the tools you're using. So I'd say at EVS's approach, we're not an archive company, but we bring the functionalities of different hierarchies and tiers of storage to an archival layer and apply it towards the more production domains where users are interacting.
Okay. And what else is being shown at the booth that maybe I didn't touch on? Was there some other features?
I mean, on our replay side of our traditional business, you're seeing a lot of improvements around AI and that extra motion I talked about. You're seeing some new zoom technologies to automatically track the players and speed the time to do kind of a 4K cropping down on content rapidly for the production users. You're also seeing a lot on the control layers. So while we're showing here at the show our normal Cerebrum and our Neuron, our media infrastructure family for building out next generation facilities, moving away from point-to-point SDI and moving to a more IP-centric control and orchestration, we're showing kind of the user layers where you can make very intuitive panels for someone who wants to abstract complexity towards a production or a person in a facility who just wants a nice, simple interface to drive and interact with something. So the Cerebrum becomes one of the tool sets from EVS which can take a complex existing system and bring a nice intuitive web panel or a soft touch panel or a router panel into something where you can drive multiple actions from a single function.
Well, James, pardon me, so much for your time today. Everyone who's watching us on the stream, we're doing streams today and tomorrow here at NAB 2025 New York. Please tune into our schedule, and don't forget, if you're looking to incorporate tools like what EVS has, come to Keycode Media. We handle production, post-production, broadcast, AV, and we have advantageous pricing, and you get free consultation. So check us out at keycodemedia.com, and we'll check you out on the next stream.